You know, I can answer that question because I spoke with the man who was in charge of the Hurricane Irene operation in Westbrook today, and I spoke with,
Oh dear God, don't talk to people in Westbrook.
I spoke with Fillmore McPherson, the first selectman in Madison. Westbrook's entire cost for Hurricane Irene is under $300,000.
Because they didn't do anything for the
Their
residents.
entire cost. Madison's entire operational cost for the entire hurricane cleanup is $250,000.
And they didn't do it, but they didn't do anything.
What
They
they
didn't clean anything
did,
up.
what they did was they opened their brushy waste site first thing Monday morning. They had everything so that people could bring up and clean up a lot on their own. I mean, the difference between, I'm looking at this is brush cleanup. This isn't infrastructure, this
Did
isn't road
Did Madison
repair.
go out and clean up the sides of the roads and the right of ways yet? No. Have
That-
you driven through Madison?
Am
No.
I hearing a big outcry from the people of Madison that they
Yeah,
didn't
the
get
people
that?
I see in Madison that I know.
If I was given a choice between spending $1.4 million to have somebody come in front of my house and clean up the brush in front of my house, or $300,000 and I put it in my truck or my car and take it to the dump, I'm gonna take it to the dump myself.
You're not spending $1.4 million.
The number on this is
You
$1.4
spend $400,
million.
but you're reimbursed for over $1 million.
It's coming out of our tax dollars. It's coming out of our tax dollars.
Well,
I asked Westbrook how they could do it, and they said they didn't do overtime with the DPW. They did everything on their normal work hours. They trucked, instead of having a grinding station in town where you had to get FEMA involved and all that,
Please don't
they
compare it to Westbrook.
trucked it
Please
out
don't
of
compare
town.
it to
And
Westbrook.
Madison did the same
No,
thing.
Madison actually filled up their landfill, which is full right now. And actually the FEMA.
They're gonna have to grind it.
FEMA representative.
Madison's gonna have to grind it and take it out
They're
of
gonna have to
there.
grind it and take it out also.
They're
Is
not
there-
applying to FEMA for it,
They're-
they're handling it.
No, it was actually the FEMA representative was
And
over.
Madison will have additional costs in the spring because they have to rebuild the wharfs at their east and west, their jetties on East and West Wharf. And they have, they patched, or, just did a patch job on Middle Beach Road. And that has to be more permanently addressed, and they estimate the costs of that in the spring of those three projects as $1.5 to $2 million, bringing their total cost to about 2.2. But they're doing serious infrastructure work in that budget. And when I look at these figures and think that this is storm cleanup, this is colossal. We were told $500,000
And it went
on
to
September
750.
28th.
It went to the Board of Finance, went to 750, and then the last meeting
Try-
said it was over $1 million.
I can't, to try and estimate the amount of work that has to be done in this situation is beyond belief.
You know-
And the problem, Carol, to be honest with you, is for everybody you think wanted to bring their debris to the dump, we got 100 calls of people that wanted to know when we were gonna help.
You know what this brings
So
me
the
back
problem
to?
is that we have to go through the process. And once you start the process, if you don't wanna bring FEMA in, then yes, you probably could have done this for less, but you would wind up paying more in the long run. I don't have the ability in my department to send trucks out and clean up the massive amount of.
Unless you stop doing everything else.
Unless I stop doing everything else.
Well, I didn't think mowing the athletic fields the Tuesday after the hurricane was the top priority. I know the word normalcy is what I'm gonna hear now, but frankly, I thought that was bad use of the DPW on
But
day
that's
two
your-
after the
That's your
hurricane.
opinion.
That's your
Which
opinion.
But
brings me
there's
to my
2,000
next.
families in town that
brings
had a
me-
different opinion of that.
Oh, come on, Willie, nobody even knew the fields were
2015.
plowed, the fields were mowed because there was no communication going
They
on
were
in
used that
town.
night.
There was no communication going on. There may have been 20 kids there, but trust me, I think DPW's needs, or the town's needs would have been better served by using DPW in a different fashion. Which brings me to another item, which has concerned me a lot, and the reason I was not allowed into that hurricane, the emergency management meeting beforehand was because you stated that I wasn't NIMS trained.
Correct.
Well, I think the entire Board of Selectmen needs that training.
We can get it trained.
Well, we need that because we all need to be involved in this. You don't want to hear second guessing, you don't want to hear, 20/20 hindsight.
No matter what we do, Carol,
But-
you're gonna get second guessing. It
Yeah,
doesn't
but you know
matter
what, Willie,
whether you're there or not.
You wouldn't be hearing it from me. Because if I had been allowed into that meeting and been allowed to offer my suggestions, you could be sitting here saying, well, Carol, you said.
I would never do that.
But now you can't do that.
I'm not
because
the
I
type of
wasn't
person
allowed
that
into these
does
meetings.
that, you said, I
Well,
don't
you
do
know
that to
what?
people.
You know
You
what?
do.
But the point is that
I
we
listen.
all need to be involved in emergency management preparation. From this day forward, what if we get 2 feet of snow on Friday
We'll deal with it.
or
Pete and
next
I'll deal with
Friday?
it.
Yeah, but you know what?
It's snow.
The more people that you have
It doesn't last for 2
disseminating
weeks.
information and getting preparedness out there, the better off the town is. The better off the town is. If we have to sit here and say, well, I don't know what the plan is, that just makes us all look ignorant.
Everybody that I've talked to said we were the best town in the area as far as dealing with that storm. I don't know who you're talking to, but I'm telling
I
you.
think
Well,
we were
we'll
the
talk to
best.
my mother.
We were the best as far as
okay?
dealing
We'll
with
talk to
storm.
my
There's always things
friends
that can be
and
done
say,
different,
I know.
regardless of who's involved with it.
I
You're always
know.
gonna have
But
things,
you know what,
and
when
we've
you-
talked about that.
At the end of the day, when the bill is 4 times as much as the next area town, it's a little.
This is water under the bridge, right, this whole thing?
We haven't paid for everything yet, but the bottom line is this.
I have more, I think we did a great job. I think you guys did a great job, I think the people, the contractors we hired did a great job. But I'm just concerned, or who determined that, how far we're gonna go? You know, I'm saying, I don't wanna compare us with Westbrook and Madison, they didn't do anything. And I understand that, I have friends that live there and contract all this.
Basically, when we
I just
started,
understand how it gets
we
going.
initially said we're gonna pick up brush. And then when we brought FEMA into the mix with the state
Yeah.
and this, they said, these are eligible costs. These are things you can do to continue this program, they're eligible. And we said, well, we're gonna have to do it one way or another.
The trees in the right of ways, we're gonna have to do.
We're gonna have to do one way or another.
The brush, we did
Fair
2
enough.
phases, and then we didn't pick up after that, and we got some complaints about that. They
We've
wanted
been
us
through
to go back
twice,
and
you want us
forth,
to
and we
third
said
time,
no.
sorry.
No, some people you saw take advantage, like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
taking their stuff in the
Oh,
back,
they-
come on, Johnny, cut some more
You're
stuff.
Cleaning the yards out,
And the
yeah.
majority of debris was picked up in phase 1. Phase 2 was the second go around. Phase 1, we used 7 contractors, phase 2, we used 2 contractors. And phase 3, we used 1 contractor.
And the first 2 phases was local.
And the first 2 phases
No,
were
I-
everybody in town, and they were done, the first phase was done on a written proposal, the second phase was done on a bid. The third phase was done on a bid. So the issue is, John, how far do you go? Well, when we started looking at the right of way, and I got trees hanging all over the place, and I got branches up in the air over town roads, over sidewalks, and stumps overturned in the town right of way. I guess at that point, if you can get it all done and get 75% of your costs reimbursed, or do you do it over the next couple of years and pay the price?
I
So-
think, I just curious how we get,
So
I'm
that's
doing
how,
this and
yeah,
this.
phase 1 was done within the first 8 days of the storm.
It's, I see, you know, I look through all these numbers
Yeah.
in detail. Obviously, phase 1, phase 2, I understand. I can't understand how phase 3, and I understand there's specific guys with, you know, trucks and
Yeah.
different things, but it, you know, you got 757,000 compared to 459,000. And,
But again, it's done on a bid,
Okay.
and the people that did it are the people that cleaned up New Orleans and cleaned up
Alabama.
no, I'm not
Alabama.
taking any, they might be the best in the world.
And actually, McGuire said that those were very common numbers. and
So where do we get McGuire?
Consultant recommended by the state, we RFP'd it,
What's that?
we RFP'd it.
Yeah.
They gave us names of consultants, alright,
Yeah.
we RFP'd it.
So like in phase 2, 41% of that bill is
Because they were
McGuire.
going back and recovering phase 1 at the same time. They were not
Trying to get our costs eligible.
to get our costs eligible, so they had to go back and do some work.
First 70 hours of work,
Because I see the other, phase 3 is 23% of the,
Right.
to me,
Phase one-
I don't know,
Yeah.
I guess to get reimbursed, believe me, I don't
Yeah.
know any about storm stuff and FEMA stuff, I'm just curious, it just seems like crazy numbers.
but the Board of Finance appropriated $1,452,000 for Storm Irene.
I'll make the motion.
Second, for discussion.
Second.
All right.
I'm just saying, say it's coming in like that, you said every day you get a, you know, bill or an itemized thing, I mean, is there something, you call a meeting and say, hey, we're at this point, you know,
I
this
did
one's
have a
over
meeting,
the top.
when I started looking at the bills at the beginning, I did have a meeting with the site supervisor. They said, listen, you know, we have to narrow the scope a little bit, so we did narrow the scope as much as we can.
What are our options on that? I mean, what do we, I mean, you say no, what does that do us? If say we voted it down, no, we don't wanna do that, what is that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?